Hello, YouTube. In the course of detailed research of ancient manuscripts, books, chronicles, and other historical written sources, one sometimes comes across the use of television in ancient times. Of course, according to the official history, this could not have happened, and any mention of magic mirrors should be considered a fairy tale. But the facts, they say the opposite. Television really existed. Moreover, this television was much more advanced than modern television in the sense that it was a television with real-time feedback. At its core, it is like a video chat today. Not just an installation showing pictures from another country, but full-fledged communication via video communication. But let's look at antique sources first. Plotinus, who lived between 204 to 270 Common Era, was a Greek Platonist philosopher born and raised in Roman Egypt. His works have inspired centuries of pagan, Jewish, Christian, Gnostic, and early Muslim metaphysicians and mystics, including developing precepts that influence mainstream theological concepts within religions, such as his work on duality of the one in two metaphysical states. Apparently, he knew something about the concept of television. Here's what he wrote. Those ancient sages who sought to ensure the presence of divine beings by erecting shrines and statues showed insight into nature. They realized that although this soul is susceptible to influence everywhere, its presence will be ensured all the easier if an appropriate receptacle is developed, a place especially capable of accepting some parts or phase of it that reproduces it or represents it and serves as a mirror to catch its image. Many literary sources, supposedly fantastic and fictional, contain esoteric secrets, visionary predictions, or refer to concealed or undisclosed technologies. For example, in Firdousi's epic poem Shahnameh, Book of Kings, a cup appears that reflects the world and distant actions. It belongs to King Kai Khosrow and appears in the love story of Bijan and Manija. Let's see, let me read it. It's very difficult, but this is what I have. Then will I call for the mirror in the world and stand before God's presence. In that cup I shall behold the seven climes of earth, both field and fell, and all the provinces will offer reverence to mine ancestors, my chosen gracious lords, and thou shalt know where thy son is. The cup will show me all. It was in the third volume of Shahnameh by Firdousi. Bijan and Manija, this story was one of the most well-known Persian legends, which narrates the love story between Bijan, the son of Gif, and Manija, the daughter of Afrasiab. In order to get to each other, these two go through many hardships and sacrifice a lot. And in the end, they get engaged to each other. Read it. I think you will like this story. Then there is this ancient source, Lucian of Samosata, who lived about 125 to 180 Common Era, was an Assyrian writer who discussed on occasions the paranormal. His most famous work is a true story, which may be considered by an earliest science fiction, but maybe there was more to it. Television mirrors are often mentioned in the most ancient visionary works of science fiction. So Lucian, in a true story, tells that in the palace of Endymion, the Moon King, he saw a large mirror that allowed him to hear everything that was said on the earthly plane, and contemplating its depths, one could see all the people of different ethnicities as if surrounded by them. I saw another miracle on the moon in the palace of King Endymion. There is a huge mirror located above a well of not very great depth. If you go down into this well, you can hear everything that is being said on the ground below. And if you go up to the mirror, you can see all the cities and people of the world, and as if you were standing right there. When I raised my hand, I saw my friends, relatives, and the whole native land. But I cannot say for sure if they see me too. If someone does not believe my words, they will be convinced of their truth if they ever visit these parts themselves. And then there was Zosimus, an alchemist, who lived in Egypt in the 3rd and 4th centuries Common Era. And he talked about a magic mirror made of electrum, which Alexander the Great apparently used to see the future in all-pervading perfect spirit, allowing to disassemble and correct the discrepancy with the divine image. Subsequently, this alchemical device was exhibited in the Temple of the Seven Gates, corresponding to the seven heavens, above all spheres. The content of that television programming was quite different from the idiotic 24th century programming produced by cowardly Hollywood. This was no usual television. Let me read a few interesting descriptions, which through the years I collected. Zosimus also explains that people still wear talismans of electrum corresponding elsewhere to the planet Jupiter to ward off lightning, and that mirrors made of electrum, I believe, to ward off all pains. When one gazes into the electrum mirror, it gives him the idea to examine and purify himself from his head to the tips of his nails. Zosimus then takes the symbolism of the mirror to a deeper level. The purpose of the mirror is not for a man to contemplate himself materially, he says, but rather this should be understood as a symbol of spiritual contemplation. The mirror represents the divine mind. When the soul looks at itself, it sees the shameful things that are in it, and it rejects them. It makes its stains disappear and remains without blame. Indeed, what is the philosophical saying? Know thyself. This is indicated by the spiritual and intellectual mirror. What then is this mirror other than the divine and primordial mind? Ultimately, according to Zosimus, one has to make the ascent through the cosmos in order to gaze into the mirror of the divine mind, because this mirror is located above the cosmos, where it serves as a mirror reflecting the divine presence within the universe. This mirror is positioned above the 7 doors, planets, on the side of the west, so that the one who watches there sees the east, where the intellectual light shines, which is above the veil. That is why it is also placed next to the south, above all the doors that answer to the 7 heavens, above the visible world, above the 12 houses of the zodiac and the Pleiades, which are the world of the 13. Above them exists the eye of the invisible senses, this eye of the mind which is represented there and in all places. One who sees this perfect mind, in the power of which all is to be found, will be held in hand and kept from death. We have reported this because we have been driven there. While speaking of the mirror of electrum, that is to say, the mirror of the mind, in this meditation on electrum, Zosimus leads the reader from a mythical story of the metal's origins to a discussion of how talismans and mirrors made of electrum are commonly thought to ward off disaster and pain, to a philosophical interpretation of the mirror as a means to know thyself, and finally to the noetic realm of the divine mind. This correspondences from a ladder of ascent from the material to the spiritual worlds. For Zosimus, To deeply contemplate the nature of metals is to contemplate the divine mysteries the nature holds. Electrum is not only a substance used in making mirrors, it is a substance that reflects the divine presence in all things. Definitely not modern television. And put yourself in the place of Zosimus and the time he's in, and then he gets to see what we can call modern television set, or maybe an device that we have today, like an iPhone, iPad, and so forth, or devices we can't even think about as yet. And it's possible, we just don't know how and when it happened and why. Now, the famous letter of Reverend John, written by him to the Byzantine Emperor Manuel, who ruled in the years 1143 to 80, describes a wonderful mirror. It could be accessed by climbing 125 steps along a complex structure of columns, probably used to ensure safety. All conversations were heard in this mirror, as well as all visible information coming from neighboring provinces. Okay, now let's travel to the 16th century and observe a particularly significant historical object, the Medici column, built in 1579, which was the first freestanding column in Paris. It was built at the request of Catherine de' Medici as part of the royal palace. While the decorative value of the 28-meter column is clear, Catherine's true purpose behind its construction has never been specifically established. Although it is a beautiful stonework on the outside, the column is actually hollow inside. It contains a spiral staircase that once connected Catherine's personal apartment with the observatory or workshop at the top of the column. It is believed that this workplace was built for Catherine's personal astrologer, some say a sorcerer, Cosimo Ruggeri. The astrologer has been friends with the queen since childhood, and it is said that she consulted with him before making important decisions. The place at the top of the pillar was intended for him to check with the stars and make his predictions. Although the palace for which the column was built is no longer there, the column still stands, hiding its spiral staircase. The door inside it is now closed, but visitors can still look at the lattice at the top of the column and wonder what astrological mysteries took place there. Possibly this column could be some kind of antenna. Maybe it was more than just antenna. Possibly the grid at the top allowed Catherine de' Medici to watch TV or communicate with her peers in other countries. Look at the illustrations from old books and think, what are you looking at? Isn't this is the fact that there was advanced technology in the past? You know what? With better understanding, I look at the old Russian fairy tale about a girl named Mashenka. Masha, diminutive is Mashenka, sits down in a corner of the room and rolls a ripe apple on a silver saucer, sings and says, "Roll, roll, ripe apple on the silver platter. Show me the cities and fields. Show me the forests and seas. Show me the mountains and the beauty of heaven, the whole Mother Russia." Suddenly, a silver bell rang. The whole room was flooded with light. The apple rolled on the saucer, ripe one on the silver one, and on the saucer all the cities are visible, all the meadows are visible, and regiments in the fields, and ships on the seas, and the mountains are high, and the beauty of the sky. The sun is clearly rolling behind the bright moon, and stars are gathering in a round dance. Swans sing songs in the backwaters. A Russian folktale about a silver saucer and a ripe apple. Such stories can easily be considered to be fairy tales. In my opinion, in such descriptions, one fabulous ones or one from fables, we countered overly simplified descriptions of high-tech devices inherited by the surviving generations. It is worth noting that there are researchers that hypothesize that royalty, very rich people, and everyone who had the opportunity and power conducted a purposeful search for remnants of technological devices, weapons, and other high-tech items left over from previous civilizations, the advanced ones. For example, Medici was known for being fond of searching for antiquities, and it seems to me that the appearance of her TV was the result of these searches. By the way, I understand there is even a bas-relief on her column that shows the device with which this column works. The device that Medici had that allowed her to travel the world and communicate with people in other countries without leaving home. High-tech magic mirrors have been used all over the world since ancient times, and their appearance has always been associated with the technology of the gods or deities. As for example, in ancient Sumer, the god Enki brought such technology with him. After the global destruction or disappearance of previous civilization, its legacy could not disappear completely, and these high-tech devices were still used for quite a long time until the 18th century by the powerful ones of this world. Or maybe they're still using it, but for purely personal purposes. Such researchers think that these devices were used by the elite to enslave humanity, which had replaced the previous civilization. Think about how easy it is to have high-tech devices available at a time when other people don't have them, and they don't even have a clue about such devices, to subdue and to control them. Another explanation, the cargo cult. Look it up if you do not know. I'm not going to explain it here. But we are all, at our core, our entire civilization is like the denizens of those faraway islands, living on the basis of worship of technologies of the previous civilization. The researchers I mentioned are sure that the elite governing humanity knows about the true state of affairs, knows about the existence of the ancient advanced civilization and the technologies it had. And also that society of 9 that I've made a few videos about. It's also been my research. Not an easy one, but the video is there, and it takes us to Leonardo da Vinci and, of course, other great minds of the past centuries. Look up that video about the Society of 9. We're definitely onto something. It's just who knows how much we can collect. The elite, according to those researchers, knows the elite is looking for and surely finds such ancient high-tech devices. The researchers think this explains the sudden insights and technological breakthroughs that regularly occur in our history. It's just that our modern elite uses some technologies, the technologies of the ancients, for their enrichment, throwing new toys into the consumer society, allowing not only to control the society, but also to subordinate it to their interests. This is not my opinion, but I wanted to show you what those who also follow the research that I do, what they think. Now, let's look at the phenomena of magic mirrors, since we're talking about television of the ancients. The magic mirror is found in various folklore and mythological traditions of different people. In different accounts of the story, a magic mirror may have different abilities and properties. but it is usually associated with magical abilities and the ability to show the past, present, and future. In Slavic mythology, a magic mirror was an indispensable attribute of mermaids, those mythical water maidens. It was believed that mermaids see everything that happens on Earth and can predict the future. Their mirrors helped them in this matter and therefore were considered precious and powerful objects. And, if you go into my research of USOs and underwater humanoids and possibly ancient remnants of ancient civilizations down below, you can understand how this technology could have been procured and how they are able to use it. Now, in Scandinavian and Germanic mythology, there is also mention of magic mirrors. In the famous legend of King Arthur, the Merlin mirror had the ability to reflect not only visible reality, but also the secret nature of things. It could show the true state of affairs, hidden objects, and deceptive illusions. The magic mirror is also found in many fairy tales and legends of various people, ethnicities of the world. It can be used as a magical item that allows the characters to find answers to questions and make the right decisions. However, a magic mirror is usually accompanied by danger or problems which highlight its magical properties and importance to the plot. A magic mirror is a symbol of mystery and magic, reflecting a person's fears, desires, and innermost thoughts. It is a window into a parallel world that helps us to see and understand the hidden sides of ourselves. So here we're exploring the side phenomena, of course, the psyche, probably telepathy, and much more. The magic mirror is too powerful and mysterious an object, and therefore, and as the legends say, its use requires caution and attention. The magical properties of a magic mirror and their meaning. A magic mirror has various magical properties that distinguish it from the ordinary mirror. They can be used to predict the future, communicate with the spirits, search for information, and much more. Very interesting. It brings me back to the legends of the Yellow Emperor of China, and you can find my research in the channel, and also the strange room of the Ra that the ancient, very ancient Egyptian pharaoh possessed, and Ivan Yefremov wrote about it, and Ivan Yefremov I mentioned quite a lot in my videos, and you can find all this in my other videos. So it's a very interesting research. One thing leads to another. But let's look at some of the properties and their meanings. 1. Predicting the future. One of the most famous properties of a magic mirror is its ability to predict future events. People can ask questions to the mirror and get answers from unknown forces. This makes it possible to get information about what will happen in the future and make appropriate decisions in advance. Basically you get information as you get today from your search on the internet, using different search engines and at this point AI. 2. Communicating with spirits. The magic mirror can be used as a tool to communicate with spirits and other supernatural forces. People can summon spirits and ask them questions through a mirror. The mirror serves as a bridge between the world of the living and the world of the dead, which allows one to receive information and advice from those who have left this world. I think it brings us to the reality of AI, if you think about it, but I'll let you ponder this. 3. Information retrieval. The magic mirror can be used to search for information about the past, present, and future. It can help solve riddles, uncover secrets, and find missing items of people. The mirror can display past and present events as well as give hints on where to look for answers to questions. 4. Protection and amulet. A magic mirror can also serve as a protection and amulet against evil forces. It can reflect negative energies and protect its owner from the effect of harmful forces. The mirror can also be used to reflect back on the sender any negative impact or evil, which makes it a powerful protection tool. In some ways, this describes television and how the ancient people might have perceived what it broadcast if they looked at it without understanding how it works and the science behind it. But also, like today's, we have new technological devices. Imagine if the people in the past had seen them. We can imagine. I'm sure we'll find more interesting confirmations of this. But let me tell you something interesting here, just to end this. But in 1584, there was the Polish priest Martin Grunewega, a merchant traveler. Later, he was the monk of the Dominican order. Once he happened to visit the Saint Sophia temple, where he saw a kind of magic mirror stone. Grunewega wrote about this large stone like a mirror, which is placed above the large temple doors. There's a legend about it among the people, saying that what it considers secret is visible in this miracle mirror. And there are many different stories about it. So, like I said, going through the old books and writings, I am sure we'll find more about this. And I will bring you more interesting information in the future too. I think this is a very, very interesting topic. There are some people who look into it. So stay tuned. Thank you for your attention to my work. Please support my research if you can through the links you'll find in the description to this video. And thank you to those who do. And please like my videos. Please subscribe to my channel.